It's the Rob Carson Show. Are you ready to be podsmacked? Now, here's Rob Carson.
Hello, listeners. Great to have you here. This is episode number 218 of the Rob Carson Show podcast. Available on iTunes, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Google Play, Google Plus, Audio Boom, SoundCloud, Patreon, YouTube, and of course, you could just ask Alexa to play the Rob Carson Show. She will play the very next episode the episode of the day. Okay, right now this is number 218. It's my Alexa right now talking to me. Anyway, also Liberty One viewers, thank you very much for joining me. Have you been naughty? Have you not signed up for Liberty One TV yet? That's naughty. Okay, that'll get you cold in your stocking, kids. Sign up today, will you? It's only 33 cents a day. It's only $10 a month, $99 a year. The gift that keeps on giving. Please join. Also want to thank the sponsor of the radio program, Dots Homestyle Pretzels, the best pretzels you've ever had in your life. They're the best pretzels you've ever had in your life. You can see right there. Just order dotspretzels.com, right up there, dotspretzels.com. You'll want to have them at every gathering with your family. You'll want to have them. There's something about them. They are a little spice, a little sweet. They're the best pretzels you've ever had. Order them online, okay? Also, if you go to that website, you can find retailers. There may be one near you, all right? Thanks for joining me, guys. I really appreciate it. So let's start off with Jerusalem. President Trump yesterday said that Jerusalem is, recognized Jerusalem as the capital. Doesn't make it the capital. Doesn't make it officially the capital. It's just the United States, the most powerful ally of Israel, saying that we're going to recognize you as a capital. And, of course, the whole world is turning upside down because something funny is happening. There's a president doing what he said he was going to do. I know, weird, right? They have been promising to do this for at least 20 years. In fact, in 1989, nearly 30 years ago, Israel began leasing to the U.S. a plot of land in Jerusalem for a new embassy. 99-year lease cost $1 per year. Pretty good deal. To this day, the plot has not been developed and remains an empty field. Ever since 1995, Presidents Clinton, Bush, and Obama have declined to move the embassy, citing national security interests. Every 6 months, the president has used the presidential waiver to circumvent the embassy move. You got to imagine there are people in Washington, D.C., Democrats going, holy crap, or oy vey, this is happening. It's kind of a big deal, but again, the president said he was going to do it. Here's a little bit, got some sound bites from President Trump yesterday.
It is time to officially recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. While previous presidents have made this a major campaign promise, they failed to deliver. Today, I am delivering. I've judged this course of action to be in the best interests of the United States of America and the pursuit of peace between Israel and the Palestinians.
And you know what? If the Palestinians go along with this, if they decide not to do their days of rage that they're promising they're going to do, this will work out. This will work out. But there are a lot of people over there who are hate mongers. There are a lot of people over there who don't care if Israel survives. They want to wipe Israel off the planet and kill all the Jews. That's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. And we are an important ally. We are their most important ally. We had a guy in the White House for 8 years who snubbed Israel, treated him like crap. Barack Obama is, if not an anti-Semite, he is certainly not pro-Israel. But that's the way radical leftists in this country are. That's the way they are. Here's a little bit more from the president with his announcement yesterday.
This is a long overdue step to advance the peace process and to work towards a lasting agreement. Israel is a sovereign nation with the right, like every other sovereign nation, to determine its own capital. Acknowledging this is a fact is a necessary condition for achieving peace.
Okay. Kind of a big deal. Now, it's kind of interesting because we've had Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, all sorts of Democrats for years saying Jerusalem should be the capital. Even Barack Obama said it. I don't know if he meant it. As just about a month ago, actually, Chuck Schumer said that the President Trump's recent comments suggest his indecisiveness on the embassy's relocation. Chuck Schumer's got to be going, oy vey, today, because he did it. We've got a president in office who's doing what he said he was going to do. He's doing what he said he was going to do. I think I have a montage of the president. This is a montage of the president saying what he was going to do. And then, of course, we just found out he did it. He did it.
We will move the American embassy to the eternal capital of the Jewish people, Jerusalem. And we will send a clear signal that there is no daylight between America and our most reliable ally, the state of Israel.
There you go.
Will you recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital and move the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem?
The answer is yes, I would.
When? How quickly after you become...
Quickly. I mean, it's a process, but fairly quickly. I mean, the fact is, I would like to see it moved, and I would like to see it in Jerusalem.
Ambassador Friedman recently indicated that the embassy will be moved to Jerusalem. Do we have a time frame? We're
going to make a decision in the not-too-distant future.
Did it within 11 months. 11 months, kids.
Right now, we are actually working on a plan that everybody says will never work. I want to give that a shot before I even think about moving the embassy to Jerusalem.
And?
As far as the embassy moving to Jerusalem, I'd love to see that happen. We're looking at it very, very strongly. We're looking at it with great care, believe me. It is time to officially recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel.
Now, despite overwhelming odds, despite overwhelming opposition on Capitol Hill from both parties, despite the FBI being weaponized to go after the Trump campaign transition team and presidency, he got it done. He's also about to sign legislation that would fundamentally change the tax code, which he promised he was going to do. In that legislation is the end of Obamacare, promised that was going to be done. This is all in the first year. It's pretty big stuff, guys. It's pretty big stuff. Here is Trump's comment on Israel and Palestinian peace, by the way.
We want an agreement that is a great deal for the Israelis and a great deal for the Palestinians.
Okay.
We are not taking a position of any final status issues, including the specific boundaries of the Israeli sovereignty in Jerusalem.
All we're doing, we're moving our embassy, okay, and we are recognizing Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. That's it. That's what we're doing. Now, if you want to follow, great. We're still going to be there. Now, it's giving them the onus to work things out.
Or the resolution of contested borders. Those questions are up to the parties involved.
Yep, that's right. But this is what we have decided to do. And because we are the most powerful nation on earth and the most powerful foe of his or friend of Israel, we're doing it, man. We're doing it. Let's see. I've got a bunch of stuff I want to get to as far as sound on this. Here is Alan Dershowitz talking about Trump's move yesterday.
Most Americans, I doubt, know. We give the Palestinians...
Obviously talking to Sean Hannity.
...money. The Palestinians pay families money of those who kill Israelis and Americans. That is outrageous waste of taxpayer dollars. Thoughts?
Well, it's worse than that. It incentivizes murders. But I think that President Trump's decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel is the perfect response to President Obama's outrageous orchestration of the Security Council resolution, which he pushed through as a lame duck that declared the Western Wall to be illegally occupied territory.
This is his kind of FU as he walked out the door, by the way.
Territory, the Hebrew University, the Hadassah Hospital, the Jewish Quarter, according to this resolution that was basically pushed through by Obama, these are outrageously flagrant violations of international law. The best response to that horrible resolution is for the president to say, we don't accept the UN resolution, and the best proof of it is we're going to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. You say it's occupied. We say it's the capital.
There you go. There you go. Dershowitz in favor if he's a lib. Is that an R turning into a D on you? Or a D turning into an R on you, Mr. Dershowitz? I don't know. I don't think so. He's a lib. He's a lib. Benjamin Netanyahu expressed his extreme satisfaction and gratitude. You'll recall in the Obama administration, the first term, there's a picture of him with his feet up on the Resolute desk, and you could see the bottom of his shoes, and he's sitting in a chair, and he's talking on the phone. He was talking to Benjamin Netanyahu. In the Middle East, showing someone the bottom of your shoe is one of the most profound insults you can do, and I don't think it was an accident. Benjamin Netanyahu.
Return to Jerusalem. From every corner of the earth, our people yearn to return to Jerusalem.
There we go.
To touch its golden stones, to walk its hallowed streets. So it's rare to be able to speak of new and genuine milestones in the glorious history of this city. Yet today's pronouncement by President Trump is such an occasion. We're profoundly grateful for the president for his courageous and just decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and to prepare for the opening of the U.S. Embassy here. This decision reflects the president's commitment to an ancient but enduring truth, to fulfilling his promises, and to advancing peace. The president's decision is an important step towards peace, for there is no peace that doesn't include Jerusalem as the capital of the state of Israel.
If the Palestinians want to choose peace, the Israelis will be peaceful. That's it. That's all. Okay? Israel, the Jewish people, they took a piece of land, the geographic equivalent of a fingernail clipping, turned it into an oasis in the desert. The Palestinians in their territories have not done that. They live in misery. They live in envy, and they live in hate. Same thing's going on in inner cities in this country. Rather than you getting promises, they get promises from Democrat leaders. Nothing ever gets better. They look at people who are successful with envy and hate, when all you need is right inside of you. That's all you need, you know. All they have to do is say, we're not going to have our children martyred while trying to kill Jews and get paid by the PLO. That's all you got to do. A little bit more from Benjamin Netanyahu about peace. How about peace, ladies and gentlemen?
I call on all countries that seek peace to join the United States in recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital and to move their embassies here. I share President Trump's commitment to advancing peace between Israel and all of our neighbors, including the Palestinians. This has been our goal from Israel's first day, and we will continue to work with the president and his team to make that dream of peace come true.
Okay, there you go. Ball's in your court, folks. Ball's in your court. But unfortunately, there are a lot of people who don't want peace. This is Alison Camerata talking to Hanan Ashrawi, I should say. She is with the PLO, the Palestine Liberation Organization, and they don't intend to be peaceful, to be quite honest.
Back to the possible 3 days of rage.
Because they are going to do 3 days of rage because of the announcement.
Starting today. I know that you're saying it's not Palestinian leaders, but this is a widely shared memo that's going around. I'll just read some of it. National and Islamic factions are calling on the Palestinian people at home and abroad to confront and reject the American administration's attempt to transfer its embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem or to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of the state of Israel. The days of Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are declared to be days of rage throughout the country. Is this encouraging violence?
Yeah, you can. That's right, Alison. Yeah, you can focus on one aspect.
Well, let's just talk about the
yeah, the rage would be the thing you want to focus on. If that's in the Days of Rage title, I think that's the word you want to focus on.
Listen, just a question about whether or not it encourages violence.
Let me tell you, I'm not debating with you. I'm telling you that President Trump is not only encouraging violence, he is provoking violence.
No, he's not.
He is also provoking.
You're choosing violence.
Provoking a religious war. He is provoking sectarianism. We are the voices of reason. We have tried to maintain a negotiated...
They're the voices of reason. Yeah, as you're hurling rocks and Molotov cocktails and sending your children to get blown up.
Settlement. We have tried to legitimize peaceful resolutions to the conflict. On the contrary, President Trump is encouraging voices of extremism and terrorism and so on. And the Palestinian people are defending their rights.
Mm-hmm. They're choosing terrorism. They're choosing violence. We're not making them do anything. We're not causing them to do anything. This is their response. Here's a little bit more about the day of rage, the 3 days of rage from Hanan Ashrawi again.
If they want to go out and protest, it is their right to protest.
Now, it's not going to be protest. It's going to be rocks being hurled. It's going to be Molotov cocktails being hurled. Kind of like an Antifa rally, actually.
Not talking about violence or attacking anybody.
I understand, but these are called 3 days. These aren't called 3 days of protest. They're called 3 days of rage.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, people are angry. They are enraged, and rightfully so, because President Trump is behaving in an absolutely irresponsible and provocative manner, and he is leading to a situation of tremendous instability and violence.
Imagine instability and violence in the Middle East. Isn't that weird? Please. Let's move on to other stuff, shall we? Pope Francis has called for the Lord's Prayer to be changed. This is interesting. Arguing that the translation used by many parts of the world goes against the teachings of the Bible. Lord's Prayer, spoken by the majority of the world's 2.2 billion Christians and is cited by the Bible as the way Jesus taught his disciples to pray. However, Pope Francis has argued the Italian and indeed the English translation go against the teachings of the Church. In the much recited prayer, followers of the faith call on God to lead us not into temptation but deliver us from evil. Speaking to Italian broadcasters, the Pope argued this is incorrect. It is not a good translation because it speaks of a God who induces temptation. Okay? He added that Christians in France have adapted the prayer to get around the issue. French have modified the prayer to do not let me fall into temptation. And then they go, ha ha! No, they actually don't. Because it is to me who falls, not the Lord who tempts me to then see how I fall. Okay, it makes sense, you know. He said to a TV channel over there, when I pray, sometimes I fall asleep. He said St. Teresa did it too. Okay. So do I, actually. I pray before I go to bed and I go to sleep. I sleep well. And I sleep well. Alrighty. Oh, this is a goofy story, man. There's a Pennsylvania State Government Committee turned into kind of a bizarre back and forth about sexuality. State Representative Matt Bradford briefly touched the arm of this guy, Representative Darrell Metcalf. And it was an innocuous touch. It was like, okay, all right, like that. But the Republican made it into something sexual and something offensive. And here is the exchange.
There is a better way to do this, guys. We don't have to proceed on this one. I hear you. I understand there's some hard feelings with PennDOT.
Representative Bradford,
Yeah.
Just look, I'm a heterosexual. I have a wife. I love my wife. I don't like men, as you might, but don't stop touching me all the time. So like, keep your hands to yourself. Like, if you want to touch somebody, you have people on your side of the aisle that might like it. I don't.
Okay. Chairman.
Wow.
Chair. Okay. We're officially off the rails.
Yeah.
So let me throw out a simple idea. My intent was just to beg for your permission for about 30 seconds.
Then beg. Don't touch.
I don't know where we go from here.
I wouldn't know what to go from there either, to be quite honest. Metcalf's outburst was not well received. Governor Tom Wolf called for the House Republicans to remove him as chairman of the committee because he oversees civil rights legislation, among other things. Wolf's comments called the comments offensive and discriminatory. Representative Brian Sims, Pennsylvania's first openly gay legislator, came down hard. against Metcalf in his Facebook statement, even calling for him to resign. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. I recognize personal space. You can say something to the person after the event. Strange. Roy Moore. It looks like Roy Moore's kind of pulling out of the out in front of the pack, 7 points ahead in Alabama with regard to the Senate race. Ed Rollins worked with the Reagan administration. He was on talking to Lou Dobbs, and he brought up the fact that Luther Strange paid for opposition research, spent a lot of money, and they didn't find a damn thing.
I don't cast any aspersions on the people that came forward other than there's no evidence. And I can tell you that I had breakfast with the guy who used to work for me, who was the number one opposition research person who did all the opposition research for Strange. And I said to him, did you find any of these stories? He said, we spent millions of dollars, found nothing. Even after it all came out, I went to Strange, who's been the appointed senator, who right. Small, and he said, I never heard anything. We didn't find anything. I've lived in Alabama all my life. There was no evidence of any of this ever.
So all of this came out of nowhere. When Bill Clinton was running for office, it followed him all the way through the election. This came up a month outside the election, out of nowhere. When you spend millions of dollars on opposition research, why couldn't you find that he had a penchant for teenage girls? It makes a good point. He makes a good point. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. The Mueller investigation. I'm not going to go through all the details of the Mueller investigation. The Justice Department is sifting through 10,000 text messages involving the FBI agent that was kicked off the special counsel Robert Mueller's Russia investigation for making anti-Trump comments. Peter Strzok, his name, exchanged text with Lisa Page. Interesting. Peter Strzok did interviews with Hillary Clinton, did interviews with Michael Flynn, did interviews with Huma Abedin and Cheryl Mills. The only person who ended up in trouble was Michael Flynn. Michael Flynn pled guilty to lying to the FBI. The problem I have with it is that Friday, the special counsel admitted, Friday, Michael Flynn pled guilty. He was forced to plead guilty. Monday, we find out that the guy who interviewed him was a rabid anti-Trump person. If the lawyers would have known about it, I don't believe Michael Flynn would be in the trouble that he's in right now. And by the way, I mentioned this yesterday. A CNN report published back in February 16th suggests that Strzok did not believe that Flynn intentionally lied in his interview about his contacts with Kislyak. CNN reported that though Flynn changed his story during the FBI interview, he would not be charged because he convincingly claimed that he had misremembered certain aspects of his conversation with Kislyak. So this bastard changed his story to get the general to plead guilty, even though in February he said he didn't do anything wrong. This pisses me off. Greg Jarrett was on Hannity's show last night. Greg Jarrett has done a great deal of work on this, and here is his synopsis of the whole situation.
I think we now know that the Mueller investigation is illegitimate and corrupt. And Mueller has been using the FBI as a political weapon. And the
Unreal.
FBI has become America's secret police, secret surveillance, wiretapping, intimidation.
Using the dossier, the Russian dossier, to get a FISA warrant to surveil the Trump campaign and Trump transition team. That's what it was used for. And it was paid for by the DNC, Hillary Clinton, and Barack Obama's Organizing for America.
And harassment and threats. It's like the old KGB that comes for you in the dark of the night, banging through your door.
By the way, this is not a game. This is not hyperbole you're using here.
No, ask Paul Manafort. They came for him and broke through his front door.
And if it can happen,
did a no-knock raid in the middle of the night. Paul Manafort and his family were there.
To him, Greg,
it can happen to all of us. Absolutely. The FBI is a shadow government now. It has become highly politicized. Peter Strzok is the perfect example of it. He led both the Hillary Clinton investigation and, until recently, the Mueller investigation. This is a guy who has corrupt political motives. We now know it. The Congress has the emails, but he's the tip of the iceberg. There are others, especially Andrew Weissman, and as you pointed out, Jeannie Ray.
Mm-hmm. There are 9 prosecutors on the Mueller team, and they are all Clinton donors. 0 Trump donors. They're all hardcore anti-Trump, pro-Hillary. I think this is going to blow up. The dossier was originally meant to get the FISA warrant and distract from Uranium One and Hillary Clinton and her dealings with Russia while she was Secretary of State. Quid pro quo. Quid pro quo with the Russian government to get 20% of our uranium reserves. That's the story. I hope to hell some heads roll on this, and I hope this becomes the biggest scandal in the history of our nation's federal law enforcement. I really do. It's sickening. Barack Obama also weaponized the FBI, or not the IRS. There you go. Weaponized the IRS to go and silence conservative Tea Party 501c3s so they couldn't have their ads and they couldn't collect donations before the elections. It's unbelievable. Sickening. Sickening. Here's something kind of interesting. A reasonable transgendered activist. I mentioned this story a few weeks ago. There was this person who is a guy, and he's let his hair grow out. And now, because he's fascinated with Filipino culture, he is identifying as a Filipino woman. So he's identifying not only sex, but also race, or I should say nationality. Here he is talking with Tucker Carlson, and actually, he doesn't believe you can really change your sex.
Exactly. I tell a lot of people that, the LGBT community and there are some left communities as well that aren't as tolerant as they may seem. The
left and liberals, and I discovered this a very long time ago. Liberals always put to me like open-minded. It's not. It is the exact opposite of it. In this country and around the world, on the left, there is no open-mindedness at all. It's the left's ideas that you agree with, or nothing at all.
I actually think a lot of the same things you do. I'm just a little bit weird.
Yeah. That's fair to say. I mean,
it's nice that you say, I'm just a little weird.
Yeah. I mean, your mom agrees. So I don't think it's news to anyone. So, we give all kinds of rewards based on race, and then we also punish on the basis of it. And you're saying, you're breaking the rules by saying, well, then I'm just going to change mine. I mean, that must drive the people who are making these rules totally crazy.
I suppose so. I don't believe you. I don't believe you can actually change your sex, and I don't believe you can actually change your race. You're born as you are. But really, that's why I refer to transgenderism, or however you would like to call it, as gender dysphoria. It is a problem, and and even fully transitioned people, I would say, must be unhappy, because if you have to strive so differently from where you began, are you really happy?
The voice of common sense, the voice of reason coming from a transgender activist. I think this is just a mixed up kid. I think he's just a mixed up kid. I really do. I don't think he's a bad person. I think he's just a mixed up kid. Do you hear about another $450 million painting? To me, this makes no sense. Paintings don't last forever. $450 million for a painting. It's a painting of Christ. It is a Da Vinci painting. Salvator Mundi is what the name of the painting is. Bought by a Muslim. Saudi Arabian prince is the mysterious buyer who bought this thing. Badr bin Abdullah bin Mohammed bin Farhan al-Saud, recently discovered to be the buyer. Prince Badr's purchase of the image of Christ comes at a time when elite Saudis are highly concerned about an ongoing purge of influential national figures at the bequest of the crown prince of Saudi Arabia. Mohammed bin Salman Badar is reportedly a close friend and confidant of the Crown Prince, who is already well known for making extravagant purchases well into the hundreds of millions. Unbelievable. Badar was apparently not known to Christie's. They didn't know who he was. They were still trying to confirm the prince's identity, even though he made a $100 million deposit. Wow. For the auction. Like PayPal, I guess, right? You know. Badar's purchase is interesting for a number of reasons. Muslims do not consider Jesus a savior, but rather they believe he was a prophet. The majority of Muslims also believe that depicting any religious prophet is sacrilegious. So you draw a picture of Muhammad, whatever. Oh, by the way, speaking of spending too much money for something, Roger Goodell, $200 million. I think his compensation back is $3.5 million. It could earn us up as much as $50 million through incentives. I think you got to fill the stands, right? Don't you kind of got to fill the stands and maybe increase viewership? I'm just saying. You're going to have to work hard for the bonuses there, buddy. Going to have to work hard for the bonuses. Denise Bradley, mayor of Davenport, Florida, is in trouble. She parked in a handicap spot at City Hall all the time. City manager Callie Callahan noticed it, but since Bradley had a placard, it didn't register as an issue. Well, they observed her exiting the vehicle carrying a suitcase into City Hall without any assistance. More importantly, they were able to zoom in on her placard to reveal that it belonged to a woman who died in 2012. On top of that, the real permit expired in 2013, which indicates that the mayors, which had a 2018 expiration date, was likely a forgery. Wow. They searched her home, found another placard from another dead person. She faces, if she's convicted, and she sounds like she is going to be, she has to step down. John Conyers is retired. He wanted his son to run. Well, his son, apparently, earlier this year, body slammed his girlfriend, spat on her, and stabbed her. But he's a Democrat. He's a Democrat. Police found Conyers' girlfriend with a small stab wound on her lower bicep. Was not charged as a result of the alleged assault because of a lack of independent witnesses and because prosecutors said it could not be proven beyond a reasonable doubt that the victim's injury was not accidentally sustained. Sounds like a nice guy. He's got a terrible rap song. He tried it. He's got, I'm not even going to bother playing with it. It's obscene and it's terrible. It's just really bad writing. It's really bad. Parents Magazine says you shouldn't tie chores into an allowance. Doesn't make any sense to me. Finance experts say that about 6 years old is when the allowance kicks in. Okay. They say $1 for every year. So I should be giving my daughter $12 every week. $6 a week for a 6-year-old, and it shouldn't be tied to chores because they have a responsibility to contribute to how the household runs. Now, I don't necessarily want to make this political, but it is kind of political. What you're doing there is you are essentially running a kibbutz. You are saying that you've got to contribute to the chores, and nobody in the house gets paid, essentially. It's a little socialistic. I think you'd be better off saying, here's the chores I expect you to do. Here is your wage. Maybe even include bonuses. Maybe even include a bonus. I'll give you an extra $1 if you go above and beyond. I see the importance of saying that everybody in the house has a responsibility in the house. I get it. But I think it's more valuable to teach a kid to work and be rewarded for it. That's just me. Finally, Brockton High School started and finished the game with a goose egg. They were playing another team in Montana. And the final score was 102-0. They were playing against an experienced Floyd Medicine Lake team. Brockton stood no chance, couldn't even manage to get the ball in the basket, falling behind 59-0 in the first half. A running clock was implemented mercifully in the second half. So I had heard they only had 5 players. There were no more players on the other team, on the team that lost. That's what essentially had happened. They had just 5 available players, which is typically a 9 or 10 player roster. And the 5 players they did had apparently played terrible. I don't like this. I don't like these stories. I don't like kids getting beaten like this so badly. I think it's embarrassing. It's awfully embarrassing. I think it could lead to, I don't make it sound too, whatever, but I think it could lead to bullying, to be quite honest. You played on that team that got beat 102-0. I don't know. I think it's unsportsmanlike. Again, that's just me. That's going to do it for the show today. I hope you've enjoyed it. And I hope you'll tell other people about it. Okay? This is episode number 218. Available on iTunes. If you would share on social media, God bless you. I would really appreciate it. And also, if you become a member of Liberty One TV, I would also appreciate it. And Terry and Chelsea, the people who put this thing together, they would appreciate it as well. It would be wonderful at Christmas time to have thousands and thousands of you join for just 33 cents a day, $10 a month, and $99 a year. In the meantime, God bless you. Merry Christmas, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks for listening to The Rob Carson Show. Friend him on Facebook at Carson Show, on Twitter at Rob Carson, and on Instagram, I think Facebook and Twitter are enough for now. We'll see you soon.